Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Steinhardt assisting Chairman Banish with today's LEPC meeting on Thursday, September 28th, 2023 at 9:30 a.m. in the Southwick Town Hall. We have a host of agenda items to take care of today. This meeting notice and agenda is posted on the town webpage, and the recording of this meeting in lieu of a Zoom recording, which is not going to be available to the group today, will serve to inform people of the verbal proceedings of today's meeting. Those in attendance are going to announce who they are, and we're going to go around the room. Again, my name is Mr. Steinhardt. I'm the Chief Administrative Officer.
Jen Willard, Superintendent of Schools.
Randy Brown, DPW Director.
Joe Trammell, Director of Finance and Operation for the schools.
Nadine Signoni, Assistant CAO.
Richard Stefanos, Fire Chief.
Russ Anderson, Emergency Management.
Sabrina Pooler, Concom.
Paul Miles, Southwick Police Department.
Jessica Bishop, Deputy Chief Fire Department.
Tom Hibbert, Health Department.
Rhett Banish, Police Department, and Chairman.
There you go. Okay, so it's been noted who's in attendance. The chairman's going to open his meeting.
Okay, so we've got a few items on the agenda for today. First thing on here is going to be the acceptance of minutes. We did have a scheduled meeting on make that May 25th, 2023 at 9:30. That meeting did not happen. We did not have a quorum. The last official meeting was the Thursday, March 23rd, 2023 meeting. That would be the minutes that we have currently.
Okay, so those people who are in attendance will be able to vote on it then.
So in that particular meeting, let me just see here, we had Carl Steinhardt, Charles Dunlap, Rhett Banish, Randy Brown, Cecil Lewis, Jennifer Willard, John Kane, Paul Miles, Joe Trammell, not sworn in at that point.
Okay.
Does anyone need to see the minutes or would like to see the minutes?
I believe they were sent to everybody electronically,
Believe so.
Mr. Chairperson.
Okay. All right, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from March 23rd. And again, those people who were at the meeting should be the ones that would participate in this roll call motion.
Randy Brown, second.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Steinhardt, seconded by Randy Brown. I'll just do a quick roll call on this. Carl Steinhardt?
Yes.
Rhett Banish, yes. Randy Brown?
Yes.
Jennifer Willard?
Yes.
Paul Miles?
Yes.
Joe Trammell did not get sworn in. Okay,
Okay,
so motion made, passed.
good.
Okay, very good. Okay. So from there, we're gonna move on to new business. The first thing on here is swearing new members. I don't see anyone from the clerk's office yet, so we will come back to that.
Right, they're coming up.
She's got a customer she has to deal with at the window.
But they'll be out. That's fine. Okay.
So Carl, can we actually move on and do anything without swearing in yet?
What we could do is, in light of item A and the swear-in, we could hold off on that and item B, and we could discuss item C.
See, okay.
So that's would be the appropriate thing,
Okay.
Mr. Chairperson.
Let's do that. That would be the hazard mitigation plan. And with that, I will recognize Randy Brown.
So real quick, I think I emailed all of you maybe a few weeks ago the updated plan. We're in the final stages of getting this plan adopted. So what I need from you is any final comments. So I have a few comments that I've compiled, but if any of you send me comments, I'll put all into one document and I'll send it to our consultant.
No, Randy, that was the one where we had both in person, but we had some Zoom meetings. In fact, we even had a group meeting up here before with, is it Jen Kaplan?
Jamie Kaplan.
Jamie Kaplan,
Yes,
right.
yes. Yeah,
Very knowledgeable person, good knowledgeable consultant and so
We had
forth.
Couple Zoom meetings, I think one was during the day, and we also had an evening Zoom meeting, hoping to capture the public. We didn't get much public participation, but
Right.
it's the way it is. But yeah, so we're looking to finalize this plan, get it wrapped up. So send me any comments if you can in the next day or two. I know it's a lengthy document, couple hundred pages, but if you can at least take a look at it, appreciate it.
Okay. That was good.
Okay, if that's been dealt with, does anyone else have any new business they'd like to discuss?
Can you resend that out, Randy? I'm not able to find it in my emails here.
Sure.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if, Mr. Chairman, you wanted to go over that last tabletop community description while we're waiting for the clerk's office? You wanted to just talk about.
That was from the meeting in the last.
Yeah, just so that people would, you know, more so because we've had a staff come and go and a turnover, and we've had some people that weren't, in attendance before, so, especially with our, Board of Health representatives, adjustments, conservation, and so forth. So just so that people also understand that this type of a tabletop is an exercise you go through on an annual basis where you exercise plans, and it makes sure that different groups come together and they understand what happens when an emergency goes on in the community. And that this committee in itself is more of a planning committee. We're not a group of first responders. Okay, we have first responders on the committee, which are police and fire and things of that nature. But it's important that everybody understands what their role is on a committee like this. And I know, Russ, you've got a lot of information over the years, having been, sitting in the seat you are, and then Rick, and then us watching all the films that Charlie used to play through the Chemical Safety Board.
I found those if you wanna watch them again.
Well, we would want the more recent disasters.
8 millimeter, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, I mean, obviously, Russ, as our new director for emergency management, you're now evaluating the whole office setup downstairs, and you've started, gutting things, rebuilding things, changing things around, so I'm sure maybe at some point we might be able to hold an LEPC meeting down there, but at this point, he's not ready to entertain us down there, because he's restructuring things.
Correct.
So, the bunker, right, as it's, affectionately known. I don't know if anybody here, have you been down there, Joe?
No,
No.
Okay, well, after he's done renovating it, and,
we'll have a party.
yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah, housewarming,
Yeah.
bring some radiation. Found the Geiger counters. I did, I found the Geiger counters.
Yeah,
Did they click?
They were dead, batteries were dead.
they're dead.
Click, 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 click.
They'll leak out into it and everything else?
No, they're clean, there's
Yeah.
like 3 cases of them.
So I don't know if there's anything specifically on that one, Mr. Chairman, you wanted to?
I mean, I was looking at it to familiarize myself, because obviously it's been a while since we did this, but.
Oh, yeah, 6 months.
This was the tanker truck leaking
yeah.
the fluid, 57 stops at the schools, of course.
Of course.
Right.
Always the schools.
You come up to
Now, for
16
those
barrels
of
shit
you
out
that are
of them.
new to the committee, like Sabrina and Tom, when this was sent to you by Cindy as an attachment to the minutes and the meeting notice folder, did you guys get a chance to look at all the materials yet?
No,
So that you can understand?
I don't know if I got that.
So,
What was the topic of that tabletop?
This one was the tanker trucks leaking fluid, heading 57 from Feeding Hills. And of course, they break down in front of the school and pull into the school and catch fire and.
Plane crash.
This one was at least, yeah, a little bit, not that bad, so. Travis has noticed the flames.
And the locusts.
And the locusts.
right, well, cicadas every 17 years.
They're bad every 17 years. They come out every year.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Yeah.
So this was at least a fairly reasonable one.
Yeah.
Wasn't planes crashing, all kinds of
Did-
stuff.
did
Plus-
And that was Scott was the facilitator.
Yep.
Okay.
Because what happened was, in order to run and facilitate a tabletop, you need someone at a certain ICS level or higher. Is it 300 or higher or 400? Right, so that is something that maybe you could explain, you gentlemen, what the different levels of ICS training, for those of us that have only had maybe 100, what 200, 300, 400, what they mean.
Sure. So I think the simplest way to put it is it focuses more on unified command, so multiple agencies. Some multi-jurisdictional issues are addressed as well too, but mainly it's about the plan for extended operational periods. So if you anticipate this being a 6-day event, what's that structure look like? Do we have the staffing? What are the resources that we can bring in? And making sure that we are pretty much filling all the spots so that finance is one of the more important ones on the longer events for sure. Planning is gonna be part of that, but it just looks at that scope much broader than what we're used to. Most ICS is wrapped up within 2 to 3 hours, and we're pretty good at that part. But that long duration, and again, knowing just at the level 100 and 700, what some of the terminology is gonna be, what the expectations are gonna be, and then everybody's role and what's expected of them as well too. So it really defines that. You do a lot of the tabletop stuff. It's quite a training, and Chief, you could probably elaborate a little bit more on it.
It's more of a town event than it is an incident.
Yeah, yeah, so it could be in place for, we can say, God forbid we ever have another snow or an ice storm that knocks us out for 4 or 5 days. That's a perfect application where you're gonna
Lived
have
Yeah.
very defined, operational periods
Yeah.
with specific jobs. Randy's would probably be part of the unified command at that point, really making good decisions based on resources that they have. His second in command would be part of that, and again, the simplest part is, the most complicated part is, at the end of the operational period, getting that information to the oncoming crew. And there's a lot that has to happen there, so the documentation portion of it's pretty involved. And there's forms on the web EOC, available through FEMA and from MEMA. The MEMA one is pretty good once you get used to navigating it, there's a lot of resources there.
Yeah,
We
that's
should
part,
probably,
400 is sets you up for reimbursement too, so the financial logistics becomes more important because it's probably an event that's gonna be reimbursed.
It's gonna be a public disaster declaration, and that's where we come in, because we have to make sure the
Right.
accounting part is recorded, and we capture all the costs of people coming in and doing supplies, deficit spending, all sorts of things that we had to do on the, like we did on that 10/29/11 storm a number of years ago. There's a lot of things we had to do when that storm came. And we had to go and hire people through the state bids to come in and do the tree trimming and cutting. We had all sorts of down power lines. We had to go through FEMA declarations. We had to get a town meeting vote for the supplemental part to bridge the gap of what FEMA and MEMA didn't cover. It becomes a complex issue on many different levels. And we were also fortunate to have a facility downstairs, the ground level community center, that got converted into a 7,000 or 8,000 square foot EOC with showers, because we're on generator power for days at this point. And we brought in the electric company, our friends from Eversource, that are a big part of our responding to emergencies. They were brought into the building, and then we also took people who had had different roles, like engineers, the planner, Concom, and we gave them new jobs for that week. Said, you're now part of this other group, and this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna be supporting these people over here, you're doing IT, you're doing this. Everybody gets a different job sometimes when an emergency comes. It's all hands on deck, because when I found them, they were in a parking lot in a grocery store. And they said, that's not where you're gonna run. I said to them, that's not where you're gonna run your base of operations, from a parking lot. You're coming all under the same roof with the town. And that worked, and that helped us, and that, it helped us on real-time information with police and fire and all the other departments. And Charlie did a great job. He taught us how to cook eggs and bacon and microwaves and boil things, and it was like Boy Scouts all over.
life skills, as long as you got electricity. Two
Exactly.
examples recently of where ICS was implemented would be the Merrimack Valley, which was huge. And again, they literally just terminated their ICS about a year ago, because part of that was
that the gas
also
line?
all the restoration that happened in the Merrimack Valley as well too. Somebody needed to sign off and say, yep, it's 100% good to go. And in the middle of that, Columbia Gas was sold to Eversource. I only know this because my wife worked for both. But then even COVID's incident command was finally terminated on May 13th, which is also the day they said you don't have to wear masks anymore anywhere. So that was it. But there was somebody in some capacity as an incident commander calling the shots on that, you know, from their home, sitting in their computer. Everyone's running in the background. It was all good.
And we had to do reimbursement requests.
Right, there was all
And
of
to that
that.
point, Tom's predecessor, Tammy, was a big part of
Yeah.
helping us navigate that process, where the health director had a much larger role than they normally would.
Right.
And they were partnering with not only just the schools and they could work with us, but police and fire in terms of emergency responses. You're wearing Tyvek suits to every place. You need to know through this, what was it, Mavern, what that system?
Maven, yeah.
Maven, about where the
Laurel,
positive
all
hits
of them.
were.
Yep.
As you went, so there was a lot of coordination.
Yeah.
So your predecessor had to really stand up and be
Oh,
part
yeah.
of that as the point person.
Yep.
So you never know, chief, who's going to be the incident commander, the lead person, you know, under a
And
unified
it's gonna
command.
change a lot. I mean,
And it
that's
may
the
not
reality
always,
of it.
traditionally, we think it's our police or fire chief.
Right.
Not always.
Not always. And we had when I was at South Hadley, a golf tournament. And before the golf tournament, MEMA
PGA.
said, everybody needs to go and take ICS 400. And everybody's up in arms. Why do I, you know? And then we had a suspicious package and everybody fell into a position and had an assignment. And the town administrator, Tris Van Casey, walking
Yep.
out of the MEMA trailer goes, now I know I took ICS 400. It paid off. Everybody had a defined role and they knew what they were. Does anybody here have over just 100 and 700? No?
I might have 200, but I've got.
Okay.
Yeah, NIMS is the other, that's, you're talking
The
about
NIMS 100.
NIMS,
Well, that's all
NIMS
part of it.
700.
Yeah, 100 and 700. That's available training. I can send the links out. It doesn't take long, but it's probably good to get, familiar with it.
They're both online.
Yeah, both online.
Yeah,
You can- I think
Russ has
200
been
is
helping
online
us
too,
cite
yeah.
those.
I think you can do 1, 2, 4, 7.
There's quite a few online.
Yeah,
right
there's,
now.
MEMA has the academy now too.
yeah, there's a
so-
lot.
You could just send out all the links, that would be helpful for Jill information.
Oh, yeah.
We can
Oh,
get
believe
that.
me, there's been issues. I mean, I heard one time of an issue in Newton. There was the school system had a huge field trip up in Canada and there was a major accident. And guess who the incident commanders were? It was the school officials. Stateside in Newton had to fill that role because they were
Wow.
dealing with a crash in another country of their students. So you just never know when you're gonna be put in that role. So.
All right, well,
We have the
Michelle
clerk,
is
yeah.
here. So we're gonna go
Item.
back to appointments. I know the select board made appointments this past Monday. Those appointments were Cecil Lewis for Noble Hospital alternate, Cindy Sullivan for the Council on Aging, Jason Perone for the select board, Jennifer Willard, superintendent of schools, Jessica Bishop, fire alternate, Jim Lynch for transportation, Joe Trammell, Director of Financial Operations for the school, John Kane, Business Community Rep, Joshua Taus, Noble Hospital, Carl Steinhardt, CAO, Mark Siegel is the police alternate. He is actually not gonna be the police alternate, Paul Miles is, and he was actually appointed as well.
Paul was appointed as
So we'll have to get Mark removed, or however that works.
Well, if he doesn't get sworn in, it's not gonna be an issue.
Okay, that works. Nadine Signoni is the CAO alternate, Russell Anderson for SEMA, Rhett Banish for police, Richard Stefanowitz for fire, Randy Brown for DPW, Sabrina Pooler from Conservation Commission, and Thomas Hibbert from Board of Health.
Okay, so the selectmen did not,
We did.
it was in addition, because I did not get that via an email.
Yeah, we did that. We added that
On
the
the
night of the
floor.
meeting. So yes, Paul is duly appointed by the board.
Okay, and Mark?
We just didn't know that, we did it in addition to Mark. We didn't know that Mark, we weren't told it was in lieu of Mark. So they're both on it. So Mark just needs to submit a resignation. Actually, if he never gets appointed, if he never gets sworn in, it won't
It
matter.
won't matter
He
anyways.
doesn't accept it.
Right. So that'll be important, so as she swears in the ones that are in this room, you check them off. So we'll have a record of that. Good
You're on the bottom because you're last, okay? You're just saying, okay? So as everyone can rise.
Everyone.
Raise your right hand.
The judges. It's a lot better than you all walking into her office one at a time.
Yes, it is. Okay, do you solemnly swear to faithfully and impartially perform the duties that you have been appointed to help you God?
I do.
All right. So, if you have already taken the ethics test and you're especially not associated with the town directly, if you guys can go in and add Southwick, it'll pop up into my queue that you've taken the ethics test.
Okay.
Yeah, I've
Okay, so
already-
you're good. Everyone else, if you've taken it, don't fill this out. If you have not taken it, please fill this out so I can get you the email so you guys are taking the link.
Do you need us to
taking
sign the
ethics.
book that we're sworn in?
You're gonna sign the book, but this
Right.
is for the ethics.
Okay,
If
yep.
you have not taken the
Yep.
ethics this year, it's a whole different module. You
I
have
did
to
it.
log
I did the
in.
new one.
Yeah, if you've already done it, I don't need your info, you're all set.
It's all new. Did you learn anything?
Sign and
I learn
date.
something new every day, chief.
It is new this year.
Yeah.
It's much more, I don't know, but ours was geared more towards schools, and I don't know if it's
Yeah, I don't
because-
need, so this is for, if someone needs the ethics stuff, you mean?
Yes, it's just only if you need it. I think you're already in there, so.
Yeah, I'm just letting
Yeah.
people know what they
Yeah.
need, if they need to get on that list, if they need it, just look at it and see if you haven't do it, put your name on it. Okay, so while they're doing that, Randy's signing is John Hancock. You're gonna put not applicable next to Siegel, right? Where is he? Let's see.
Do you have the Southwick MA email now?
EMA, that's over. MA.gov.
Got it.
Is there a phone number?
That's about
That's SouthwickMA.gov.
Ross, what's the phone number down there? Cause I used to go to Charlie's house.
Yeah, it's the main one listed,
It's still 0308.
no. That's backup on an answering machine. But it's what's listed in the town directory, extension 131. So it's what's that?
569-3137.
Teachers in your
131.
center, They're part of your role.
131,
Russ.
Russ.
Southwick and Stott. I'm sitting, who are all these people? And then I'm looking at the
Russ, have you
extension of
talked to
their email.
dispatch at
They're all
all?
coming from you guys, from your school.
As far as you're the new
So-
merged.
I need to
Yeah,
go
I
back
did talk
in
to
and
Nina.
actually put
I sent it to
Southwick
Nina, I
College Regional
believe.
School as an option.
Figures there was some issue. Well, Randy,
That's
it's
the
131 is the
Yeah, I
extension.
had before that.
131.
131.
They're trying to get ahold of Charlie,
So
I
I've
guess.
got probably maybe 10 people that's on my list. I'm like, oh, okay.
I'll tell
That's
Betsy
nice.
today.
Maybe they're doing both, I don't know, because it comes into my queue, but I don't
And
know if
that,
they're
the
actually
131 extension goes to myself.
picking.
It's a different, because
That's
there
why
is an
I did it,
option
so I could
for-
roll,
I did
so
see an
just to
option.
get.
Like
Because when
voicemail
you
comes
do
into my
this, 'cause
stuff,
I
yeah, I
put
get stuff
schools,
that even
and
gets emailed
it's
to me
very
now.
school, geared towards schools. I think they geared it more towards what you were,
Oh, okay.
your role.
So I don't know if they're choosing that, I just know that they chose Southwick schools.
Interesting.
I just wanna look at the book.
Alright.
Paul, when you're
I might
done,
email
Did you
you
sign
later
yet,
if you
Joe?
could tell
I
me
did.
who they are.
I just wanna look at the book.
We do, we have to.
So, yeah, I knew you did, so that's.
All right.
Okay, so Rhett? Let's see. We still, there's 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 people still have to get sworn in,
Okay.
okay? You want me to, you need their names?
Yeah, let's take them, why not?
Okay, last name Lewis, last name Sullivan, last name Perone, last name Lynch, last name Kane, and last name Towse, Towse. So those 3, it's actually 6. So those 6 still have to come through and be sworn in the clerk's office. But for this point in time, we're fine. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 members, and of course, some of these are alternates, so, but we certainly have hit all of the main categories of people that are recommended to be on a local emergency planning committee. Thank you.
Thank
Treasurer
you.
Collector Hill, thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
Enjoy the rest of your.
You too.
Thank you.
For the day.
All right, so that's out of the way. So we will now go back to election of officers for chairman, vice chairman, treasurer, and secretary.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to, see if you want to, be the chairperson again for another year, and I'd like to see, if any other members of the, group would, second that motion?
I'll second it.
Well, discussion on the
Unless Randy
matter.
thinks he's ready to move up.
Discussion
No, I'm
on the
getting
matter.
you okay with that? He's good? He said he's good. Randy said he's good. So we're not into a succession plan yet.
Not yet?
No.
Personally, I'd like to step aside. I mean, I would entertain maybe flip-flopping with Randy. I would be willing to do that for continuity purposes. But if anyone else would be interested in the chairmanship, then that would be fine with me too, but.
Well, let's go around the table, see if anybody is interested in the chair. I did it for 14 years, and since I'm gonna be departing, I'm not sure who the
Your
new,
last hurrah.
I'm not sure who the new
Could be the
person,
civilian member.
You could.
the letter just went in this morning. I'm not sure who the new person is gonna be in this role that will,
Well,
you know,
it should be automatic. They take the ship, take that job anyway.
so. Well, usually it's a command officer, like in Westfield, it was usually a ranked command officer was the LEPC chairperson in larger municipalities. Whether it's in the police or fire service, people would determine that, but, so that's obviously an issue, but, everybody's sort of new in their roles, and they may not feel like they're ready for it yet, so, this is the time. We certainly wouldn't want someone leaving the meeting saying, darn, I really wanted to pursue that opportunity. I know Sabrina, she's just really thinking about it, but.
I don't even know what ICS means.
I don't.
You're perfect for it.
I mean.
No, that's if you're running for president. So, but you will know in due time.
Yes, I got.
Oh, yes, you've got some great people around this table that will get you a good education.
Yep.
Just always realize that. So,
This is for the chairman's position right now? And Randy, you're gonna move up to chairman, or because you're vice chair right now?
I'm a vice chair.
but he's been chairman of other boards and committees he's dealing with right
Yes.
now, so he's really got other obligations, so that's why I sense he didn't want to move up yet.
Personally, I think this is a great role for our new SEMA director. I'm gonna nominate Russ Anderson for the project.
Here we go, we now have
Well,
another.
now we have a bidding war. If they're on a anti-campaign.
So let's see.
Why you don't want it?
Let's see, Carl had a motion that wasn't seconded yet, so no one has seconded my motion for Rhett. Now we have a competing nomination put forth by the vice chairman, Mr. Brown, this is gonna be great for whoever's typing these minutes when Cindy comes back.
I thought
seconded
you-
Oh, you
I was
sec-
gonna
okay,
bring
but
that
we
up.
didn't
It
vote
was
on it.
seconded,
But yeah, you
right,
wanted
we're
a
the
discussion.
discussion portion right
Right,
now.
we're at the discussion, so we are, the chair can entertain obviously another motion from another party, so Randy has put forward one. Is there a second on Randy's motion?
Second.
Yeah.
Okay. Any general discussion on
On
that?
that one. You wanna say something, I can say, I can see it.
Well, I'm gonna speak on behalf of Chief Anderson, retired Chief Anderson.
Highest
And
rank.
again, that's
Difference.
part of it, but I think situated in SEMA, his experience with the town, both previously, before he was the fire chief here, and just being involved in the fire department and the progression for the town, I think he makes a very strong candidate for the chairperson for.
My
for our-
campaign manager now?
Yeah,
What did I do to you?
That's your vice chair right there.
I was gonna say,
so.
That's a good one, Randy.
I just think it makes a lot of sense, because as Carl pointed out, there are some younger people in the room, inexperienced in the
experience
positions
and
just
continuity is gonna
Trying
be
to,
important. What do you need?
and
What do you need?
I look at my department, it's young, and you look at your department and it's young, and it's scary. So I think if we have,
Tom Everett.
and certainly not that
This'll be
anybody's
helpful.
done a bad job here at all, this has been a very good committee. But I
Well,
would say that if Chief Anderson's
What
willing
does
to
Chief
consider it.
Anderson, what does Chief Anderson think of
That's
that?
what the group wants, that's fine.
Okay, I mean, I'm just, you might say, look, it's not gonna work for me right now.
Well, it'll be a little bumpy at first, but it'll smooth out, so.
I mean,
Like a good man for the job.
I mean, a big part of it is just knowing how to, chair meetings and, and coordinating stuff with people and open meeting laws and Zoom and all that other kind of stuff that,
I failed on Zoom today, so make sure you know Zoom.
Get fired one time, all right?
Is that how you do it? That's it.
that usually happens in our households first. All right, then, we have that. I guess you do have a motion that's been made, and Tom seconded it.
Motion made and seconded.
And we've had a
Yes,
discussion.
we have.
You're gonna call for your
So
vote.
I will call for a vote, and we will actually need a
Roll
roll
call
call
vote.
vote, because we're on tape right now. Just get the list out again.
Well, there are two motions, right, so everybody
Right, let's vote on the first one.
We'll go with the first one with Russ for chairman, I guess, to begin with.
Well, the first one was
It
yours.
was you,
First
so we
one
all
was
have to
mine.
say
So
no.
we have to say
Okay.
no for that one.
All right, so we will begin with that one.
So just make the note on that other first motion. This one, so you wanna draw a line through there and get all the no's. Okay, so we're going this way?
I'll just read the list or whatever.
Okay.
Jennifer Willard,
No.
Jessica Bishop,
No.
Joseph Trammell,
No.
Carl Steinhardt,
No.
Nadine Signoni.
I can't vote, can I?
Usually the alternates don't vote
Okay.
Unless the,
unless
Yeah,
the
let's do
primary's not
primaries
here.
Okay.
Hey, it's great to know what they're thinking.
Yep.
But statute, from the open meeting law, public records and all that.
the position holds the vote, not the person.
Okay, Russell Anderson,
Boy, I don't, no.
Red Banish, no.
That was quick.
It's like I already had it pre-planned, right? Rich Stefanowitz,
No.
Randy Brown,
No.
Sabrina Pooler,
No. You're just doing a horrible job right now.
Thomas Hebert.
No.
Okay. The motion fails apparently. That's too bad.
Smile.
Suck it in because you don't see it often.
Hey, it was my motion. What do you care? It was my motion.
All right, so now we're going to go with the second, which would be Russell Anderson for chairman. Jennifer Willard,
Yes.
Joseph Trammell,
Yes.
Carl Steinhardt,
Yes.
Nadine, no, Russell Anderson,
Abstain.
abstain,
Okay.
Rhett Banish, yes, Rich Stefanowitz,
Yes.
Randy Brown,
Yes.
Sabrina Pooler,
Yes.
Thomas Hibbert.
Yes.
Okay, so
What
that,
about
whatever
Jess
that,
Bishop?
not voting
alternate,
because she's
the
alternate.
Oh.
Fire alternate, like Nadine is the alternate.
Oh, okay.
So that passes.
Paul's the alternate, that's why you won't see those names.
One
Congratulations.
No, but you just.
car comes with that, right?
I think so.
We did.
Because it's over behind the fire department.
It's car two.
It's over behind the fire department, just don't put it in reverse.
got 3 tires, but you're good.
That one's done.
Got the seat.
That one's done.
Oh, that's true.
All right, so item B on the agenda is over.
No, we gotta do vice.
We gotta
Vice
do
chair.
vice and.
Oh, okay,
and,
right for that.
Treasurer.
Secretary and treasurer and all that
Yep.
good stuff, so. I would entertain some form of motion for vice chair.
I'll do vice chair, yeah.
Okay, I'll make the motion for Randy Brown for vice chair.
Okay, motion is made, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been seconded, and any discussion on Randy Brown?
He did a great job. He's continuing to learn the role, and when he's ready to aspire to the top dog, he should get it.
Anybody else?
That's up to you to train him now.
Yeah, when I retire, you can take my job. When he's retired.
He's pretty young. He's pretty young.
All right, any more discussion? All right, well, we will take a vote. Jennifer Willard,
Yes.
Joseph Trammell,
Yes.
Carl Steinhardt,
Yes.
Russell Anderson,
Yes.
Rhett Banish, yes. Rich Stefanowitz,
Yes.
Randy Brown,
Yes.
Sabrina Pooler,
Yes.
Thomas Hibbert.
Yes.
Okay, unanimous. Secretary.
Obviously Cindy has indicated that she did not want to continue on in that role, so it should be, another member of the group should be looking at aspiring to that scribe position. especially for those people that didn't think they were ready to become the chairperson or the vice chairperson, doesn't mean they can't be the secretarial role, which has to do with posting the agendas and setting up the Zooms and all that. And if you've already got whoever in this table's got Zoom account privileges already has the ability to do that,
Okay.
so.
I can't self-nominate, so somebody else has to make the nomination, but I would consider it if I was nominated.
Wow.
I'll nominate Rich.
Thank you.
Sandwich.
Okay.
I think I owed you one.
So we have a nomination by the
He could have bought me
Emergency
coffee,
Management
okay,
Director.
thanks.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion made and seconded, any discussion?
I don't have to wait.
Hearing no discussion, we'll move to a vote. Jennifer Willard,
Yes.
Joseph Trammell,
Yes.
Carl Steinhardt.
Yes.
Russell Anderson,
Yes.
Brett Banish, yes. Rich Stefanowitz,
Yes.
Randy Brown,
Yes.
Sabrina Pooler,
Yes.
Thomas Everett.
Yes.
Okay, that carries unanimously.
Made the call. Made the motion.
Russ Anderson made the motion.
Who seconded it?
And Tom Everett.
Tom, you're the second man, huh?
He
Yeah, I
is-
guess
he's-
so.
He's the second gun.
Well, you know what that
Keep
gets you,
things
right?
moving.
That gets you nomination for the treasurer's position.
I'll second that.
Don't forget, Tom's our right to know office. He's gonna be busy doing other things
right.
that he's gonna be calling you people about.
Do we have a treasurer position?
It used to be Dennis Clark.
You're going way back now,
I love how you're looking at me.
Well, you're sitting in his role, so,
in his chair.
Heck, and he's back on the board too now.
Is he?
He is. He's back on the conservation. So,
All right, so I will entertain a motion for a treasurer.
Do we have any money?
I don't think
My
so.
question. Who bought the donuts before in the past?
Charlie would get it out of, there is money in the account there's usually generic money in the, LEPC, account.
There's a line
And
item
you could
for it?
find it from accounting, but usually the
Gotta
emergency
be listed
management
as
director,
donuts or we won't be able to buy them.
'cause,
Right?
no, he would do that, and of course.
Jelly donuts.
Well, he also included produce.
What kind of donuts?
He also included produce, but,
Sprinkles?
no, there was line items on there for like, holding meetings and conferences
There's
and
an
outreach.
annual donation from the town every year for SEMA, isn't there?
No,
No, there isn't? Okay.
no, there's
No,
a,
SEMA has a budget.
SEMA
There's
has
a
a
general-
LEPC is different.
LEPC doesn't?
no, that usually, he'll have to go and look and see what he has for grant. You do have money in grant accounts. That is available.
Under LEPC.
Yes.
So we need a treasurer.
So what I would suggest you do in that new role is
Tell the treasurer to go get
meet
it.
with me in the near future, and we'll go over the chart of accounts, and we'll see what's
Okay.
available, okay? All right.
Waiting for a motion. Treasurer,
Well, I'm gonna make the motion that Tom is, nomination for Tom for
Alright.
treasurer.
I'll second that.
And I just,
okay, made and seconded.
nothing against Sabrina. Just
Any
I know
discussion
there's
on that?
A lot going on and,
There's not too much heavy.
Nope.
yeah, it's a $50 balance in.
Okay, seeing no discussion, or hearing no discussion, we'll vote. Jennifer Willard,
Yes.
Joseph Trammell,
Yes.
Carl Steinhardt.
Yes.
Russell Anderson,
Yes.
Brett Banish, yes. Rich Stefanowitz.
Yes.
Randy Brown,
Yes.
Sabrina Pooler,
Yes.
Thomas Everett.
No.
See, he abstained.
Sorry, Tom.
Motion passes.
I
All
could
right.
put that in the notes.
I know,
You
that's why I
too.
did it.
Well, it's also in the midst, but don't forget, you guys are you're the glue. You're gonna be a cohesive stuff. You
Yeah.
gotta be, I know this is a joke, but, it's an important committee, and you never know what the future holds for us, so
Yeah.
everybody's gotta be in a state of being ready for something to happen. And that's why you gotta be regularly communicating with each other, because you just don't know. So, and that's my best advice for you.
All right, so thank you to everyone who's taken one of those positions. And let's see where we are. Okay, we took care of all the new business. Does anyone have any old business they'd like to discuss?
This is my mine's more of an other category.
That's where we're going
So,
next.
just, I think it's awesome that Chief Anderson's now SEMA director here. The select board, when they were making the selection, really stressed a partnership between, all the agencies within town. And I think it starts with fire and police to really have a good cohesive relationship. So I think this is one of those places where we can have good discussions that benefit everybody in town for SEMA as well, too. But I know that the chief has a very daunting task right now of just kind of settling in and sorting through some things. And again, if you need help from us by any means, even if it's just a truck that takes shit to the dump, we'll gladly do that. But again, even heavy lifting, but I know that we had talked a little bit in the beginning just about what that would look like, what that landscape would look like. So just going forward, I think it would be smart if everybody kind of keeps in the back of their mind that it is an important operation within town. And it's one of those things, it's only when you need it that you're thankful that it's there.
Don't need to convince me of that, Chief.
Yeah, so, my goal, obviously, going forward is to have a better understanding of the role for SEMA and work in partnership. And with, one of the chief's biggest things is technology and being progressive and really
Right.
kind of moving forward, so.
The public
I think it's a
information
good-
role.
Yes, exactly. Oh, yeah, that too, right? We should get you a green helmet for that.
I got 100 of them. Still in the bag.
But that's your household construction helmets.
No.
Yeah, but just welcome and anything we can do to make that
Yeah.
transition
No, I agree.
smoother.
It's, I think there's a lot we can do to be prepared.
Yes.
Old business, or Randy, when we did a tabletop way back, remember we did the medical waste at the dump,
Yeah,
transfer station?
yep.
Did we ever get any kind of monitor?
I don't think we did.
I know we were having problems
We were
finding
talking
one.
about it. I know we talked about it directly. I don't think we ever found something we liked.
Yeah. All right, just curious and following up on that at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, some new technologies out there, the new guys from Hazmat were showcasing some of the equipment they have. It's pricey, but there's probably even some hand-me-downs that might be
For
available.
those that weren't on at the time, we had a scenario that someone disposed of medical waste at the transfer station that ended up setting off alarms, and I think there was kids there selling tickets for a dance or some function or something, and yada, yada, yada. But basically, the whole premise of it pointed out that we probably is a good idea to have some sort of monitor at least at a minimum at the DPW, if not with some of the emergency responders for some of that stuff.
A sign with a fake camera would probably go a long way too.
I don't think it works for the stickers, so I don't think,
Yeah, good point.
there is a
They're
camera.
real. They
Was
work.
it radioactive waste? Was that the idea?
Yeah, it was radioactive medical waste, like chemo type stuff.
Yeah.
Does that
Which does
really
happen.
They
happen?
just put it
Yeah,
in
that's
sharp
happened,
containers to
yeah.
get rid of it in the
Yeah,
lab.
well,
Someone
Fire
was going
station
through
now.
chemo, their waste was in a diaper, and they brought it to the facility. And then where we brought it to our disposal facility, it tripped on their system.
Yeah, they had monitors.
And they rejected the load. Yeah.
Right, and also, things like that get picked up in sewer system monitoring,
Yeah, analysis.
and they also get
Don't think
picked up
about.
in your septic systems, when that gets pumped out.
Wow.
Yeah.
People don't realize all those other
I
things.
thought it was crazy when they said, they were looking at the numbers of COVID, and it was
In the
based strictly on sewage testing.
Yep.
I'm like, this is ridiculous, and then I thought about it, I'm like,
Nope.
it's the most untainted sample out there.
Yeah.
It doesn't lie, it tells you exactly what's going on. So I have a friend who works, Ray Warren, I called Ray, and he does all this testing and everything, just gave me the lowdown, and he goes, oh, we can tell all kinds of stuff, we can tell you where your drug problems are and everything else. I'm like, seriously? He goes, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He says, it's used to target problems within communities, yeah.
All the
You
major
wouldn't think
cities are
about it, but,
monitoring for
yeah.
it, they all have their baseline, and they see when things are fluctuating, especially if you have cities that have hospitals,
Yeah,
where all that's going on, for inpatient treatments too.
yeah,
You just don't want the job with the dipstick.
yeah.
Collector.
That's another thing when you begin to appreciate all the different divisions of the Department of Public Works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to have a tabletop exercise that doesn't involve the schools this year. Just putting that out there for who's ever deciding
Okay.
who the tabletop
Which we-
Do
exercise.
that, I think we'll do
We'll
something with the
probably do.
landfill again. I think.
Well, also,
Kinda causes a little bit of trauma for
Right.
me, just putting it out there.
there was a
but,
couple of,
yeah.
Yeah, I remember a couple of times when Dennis Clark was getting injured, right? Remember Sealer Weights and Measures? And, you know, he got creamed when he was doing gas pumps, where a truck came through and wiped out the pumps. Dennis was killed off a few times on tabletops. So, but.
Be
See what you have to
prepared.
look forward to?
Yeah. Well, you don't have that other role, so we're, you know, but let him know, we were talking about him the other day.
But if you're in a hazardous swamp somewhere.
Yeah,
And you see if an algae bloom,
who's doing weights and measures now?
Cyanobacteria.
Who does weights and measures?
Dennis does.
From
Still does it, but out of Westfield, okay, contractor, okay.
Yeah.
So it could still happen to him.
Right.
All right,
Over the Westfield line though.
all right. Mutual aid response.
So.
Are we still on other?
Yes,
Yep.
yep.
I have been talking to Carl and working with Maya to restart the safety or risk management committee, which will have some similar faces to this committee. So just want to give you all a heads up. I will be sending an email probably today or tomorrow with a list of dates. And our representative from Maya is going to help run the first couple of meetings and then set us free, and we'll do that on our own. I think it's been a few years since we've had the
It was
safety
during,
committee in place.
right. I mean, we've still been getting the grants.
Right.
The last grant, you know, major grant we got from them, we used it to do this, the town building safety study. So, and we've already had the facilitator finished updating everybody, giving briefings. We handed out the plan to people. We're making the finishing touch for the polished copy with the edits, but substantially that plan was done, completed, rolled out, and the town was reimbursed. And that was something that, you know, that Russ Anderson had helped us with too.
Who is that committee comprised of?
That's what I was just gonna ask, what's the purpose of the committee?
You mean the risk management, when he's talking about?
Yeah.
He's gonna identify who should be on it, but it's all like buildings and grounds is a big thing, because there's the right to know law function that's part of this, which is all your knowing your MSDS sheets. Because you wanna make sure you know all that stuff, because if I'm fire and I'm doing pre-planning, I wanna know what's in every building, not just the filings that are done to you that are tripped by thresholds under FEMA or, you know, SARA Act, the SARA Act. But also the other, you know, types of things that, you know, in our buildings where we may not have to report something because it doesn't meet the threshold, we should still be informing the committee and police and fire what's in all of our buildings in terms of chemicals and things like that.
Can I request that Eric Wykander and Joe Trammell be on that as well?
Sure, well, don't forget, as a separate Maya,
know.
as a separate Maya entity, you can be having them do those
But
meetings.
it would be better if we were.
It's fine if you wanna do that
I
joint,
would.
but Joe should be letting Debbie know that as a separate client and entity, that you'll be also participating with Southwick to meet that same criteria, because
Yeah.
if you do that, you might be eligible for dividends and credits on your Maya bills.
Yeah, I would rather have it be, I know we're not a department, I get all that, but I think it'd be better if we worked with
Do you want us
instead
to
of
go
in
back to town meeting
isolation.
and make you guys a department? of
No,
the
it's
town?
okay, it's okay. No, I wouldn't get regional transportation and the bill would
No,
go
that's
up. You
true.
do
It-
not want me,
It
it
would
would be $1
change the
million.
it would change the
Don't want it.
calculus of the financing
Oh,
and
huge.
bring us out of balance.
Yeah, you would do not
As
want that.
opposed to a department of a town versus a separate government have different
Yeah.
financial implications.
Bye-bye regional transportation. Yeah, not good. But no, but
Okay.
I do
Alright.
want to,
Right.
as I said when I started here 8 years ago, I
Yeah.
want to work hand in hand.
That's
I
fine.
don't want it separate. So, just saying.
Okay, there you go, Tom.
Yeah, I think,
Do you know Eric?
No, I haven't met him
Wickender?
yet.
Very knowledgeable.
Yeah,
Good guy.
he's like David's equivalent for the school district.
Okay, oh, perfect. Yeah, I think when I talked to Debbie, I think she said, we can, you know, tailor it however we want, but generally it would be, you know, Carl Nadine, police, fire, health, DPW, and building and grounds, I think.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it was before.
Basic, yep. Yep.
So,
It's not duplicating everybody in this room. So, and that's fine, and you can segue in the school component,
Yeah, that'd be good for us.
okay?
And Eric does sometimes come to these meetings as well.
Okay?
that's all I
That's
got,
all?
yeah, so I'll send an email out, today or tomorrow, and hopefully we'll find a day that works for everybody, and we can get that going.
Thank you, Mr. Dershowitz.
Sure. Just on the subject of, you know, risk and safety, One of the things that I've realized is that although a large portion of Southwick does settle in Connecticut, it's a high wall to try to work with resources in Connecticut. We have mutual aid agreements with fire and with EMS and things like that, but we operate under, especially in EMS, completely different guidelines. How well do police work with Connecticut police? Is there a good partnership there? Because it
There
seems
is,
that
I
we
mean,
never
I don't
see
think we
them.
work with them as much as we once did. I know when I was on patrol back several years ago now, but we used to deal with Suffield a lot around the lakes. We'd back them up in those areas, they back us up. We do have separate, like you said, mutual aid agreements with Granby, Suffield.
Yeah.
And then we got our big municipal one in Massachusetts here, but we've had very little issue over time, so.
Yeah. I mean, because Westfield obviously is a resource with people, and Agawam is, but Granville, Russell, or Tolland rather.
Towns.
I mean, they're towns that are suffering.
Well, you've got the composition, those are the ones that draw off the resources
Yes,
from
they
you,
do.
and the
Right.
other ones that are there complementing you back and forth.
Right.
You know, I mean, we used to be, remember there was a time where a lot of our mutual aid and a lot of our numbers we were relying on Westfield for
Yes.
quite a bit, and that line has changed
Yes, it
over
has.
a number of years now, where it's gotten to the point where now you are able to provide mutual aid more so.
Yeah. In fact, our last run, which was most of the summer, it was an equal amount of calls, us going to Westfield as Westfield coming into Southwick.
Wow, okay,
for the
so
first
it's
time.
equally
Yeah.
balanced.
And then Agawam was only offset by one or two. They weren't the higher numbers that we had. from
That's
Westfield,
interesting
but
for a
yeah.
community that's like
Yeah,
4
so we had
times
22
larger.
mutual aid in, 22 mutual aid out for Westfield.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is
Something
why.
we should highlight.
Yeah, it is, and we're working on that, because that's a bigger plan of, just a call volume increase as well. Us really partnering with Granville for EMS responses, and
Yep.
having adequate staffing is, really the sidebar,
That all
the side
con-
discussion for all
Right,
of
but
that.
that puts a demand on your personnel and
Yeah.
your equipment,
Yeah,
and, you're always waiting for equipment to be delivered to you and show up, and so you can put it in play.
yeah,
So-
we'll talk about that one.
Yeah.
All right.
Anybody else? Anything? Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn on the table. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Yep, and the next meeting is?
It was posted on the agenda,
October
but, yeah.
26, 2023, 9:30 a.m., location to be determined. I would say more than likely to be here, but
No,
that's
it'll
your
be up
choice.
Yep. That's the-
So we'll do a roll call vote if I can find my sheet again.
What was the,
Bottom. Yep.
26, 9:30.
Quick question before we adjourn.
I was just wondering how often, is it every month, or wasn't it?
It's 5 or 6 times a year, chief, so.
Spelled right out.
Okay.
Traditionally, under the bylaws, there is a copy of the bylaws or the regulations of the committee we can give you.
Okay.
And it's usually 5 to 6 times a year. Don't meet in July or August, but it's like September, October. Nothing in November and December because of the holidays, and then it's usually January, March, and like May.
I think it's right on the town website if you go into the committee, I think.
Yeah,
Although there's one in
that's-
there that says it's a meeting and it's not.
Right, so what we might want to do, chief, if there's a meeting time in there, a month where we don't meet, but if it's listed there, then you should probably bring forward in a future agenda a discussion and approval to amend the bylaws of the committee.
Okay.
So that would be something that I would suggest we look at about, the next time of looking at it. And also, whatever those bylaws are, you're probably required every spring to advertise it, bless you, in a public notification, like a newspaper. I think usually we used to do it in March. So, we'll meet and we'll go over that stuff, okay?
Okay.
After 14 years, I get some pretty good binders on the committee.
Okay. So motion made and seconded to close the meeting. Jennifer Willard,
Yes.
Joseph Trammell,
Yes.
Carl Steinhardt.
Yes.
Russell Anderson,
Yes.
Brett Banish, yes. Rich Stefanowitz.
Yes.
Randy Randy Brown.
Yes.
Sabrina Pooler.
Yes.
Tom Hebbard.
Yes.
Okay, meeting adjourned at 10:32 a.m. Thank you, everybody, for